Hi guys, welcome to my outside webinar, the Indoor Environmental Monitoring with IoT in Building Automation System. My name is Jessica, and today we are going to talk a little bit about some new changes in school buildings, office buildings after COVID-19 pandemic, and how indoor air quality is a part of those changes. So we will start with who we are, introduce my outside, if it's your first time to join us. And after that, we're going to talk about emergency issues in the market today about indoor air quality data and how is technology becoming a bigger part of facility management and how my outside IAQ solution can help you. My outside company, My outside was founded in 2011. My outside is a very fast-growing IoT solution provider committed to offering the value-added service and cutting-edge technologies. Based on video surveillance, My outside expands the value proposition into IoT and communications industries, featuring Internet of Things communication and artificial intelligence technologies as its core. Stepping into 2021, it marks the 10th anniversary of My outside. For the next decade, we are going to empower a new My outside brand and becoming the pioneer in the AIoT industry. And the My outside IoT Cloud is the data platform for the indoor environment monitoring, and we enable that through the LoRa technology. We allow organizations, no matter is the university or office, to measure the efficiency between their two largest concerns, the occupant's wellness and the building automation. So here on the right side is an image of the tracking device we will be talking about later on the second half of today's presentation. So here is our success stories collection. We are working with the municipals, museums, companies, labs, and some of the things that we do is we help those clients make data-driven decisions, which we will be talking about today. So let's see the video first. So we also work with schools, colleges, factories, a number of other companies across different sectors. So we have very rich experience about this kind of LoRa solution. And what kind of changes in the building automation systems? First, what is building automation system? Building automation is certainly a very complex and fascinating topic, the one that we won't be able to fully explain it in this webinar. But let's first provide an overview of building automation for context before diving into air quality monitoring specifically. The building automation system links the function of previously independent systems like the air conditioning, HVAC, lighting, security, and alarm systems into one integrated network. And sometimes we also use additional terms like the building management systems, building management and control system as alternative of BAS. And this image comes from a professional building stewardship company called the Stonehouse Group. According to their rich experience of making building better during commissioning and flash requirements from the market, they found there is an obvious change happening in the building automation systems. That is the convergence of healthy and well buildings. We used to think that a high-performance building was simply about sustainability and energy cost saving, like it be LEED Green certified or net zero energy and very scientific space utilization. But now the concept like healthy wellness, life cycle cost, are bringing more influences to the building automation solutions. And especially the COVID-19 pandemic enhanced this importance level. Indoor air quality monitoring can drive great changes to the building automation system through the HVAC system. For example, the air quality data, it can help building automation system adjust the ventilation rates through opening or closing dampers in different rooms. But there's another big difference in the HVAC operations. The indoor air quality monitoring is not just a limit to temperature and humidity adjustment or the flash air ventilation, but more parameters need to be monitored, more data need to be collected, like the VOCs PM2.5, PM10. For air supply dilution, for example, when you are diluting the air, carbon dioxide is going to be at ambient levels. If you are not diluting the air by reducing the number of people in that space, you are going to get elevated carbon dioxide levels, right? But how can you know the exact density? And when there are some VOC products being used to clean the house, clean the office, do you want to have a proxy to identify those volatile organic compounds for you? And from the virus spreading perspective, air filtering mechanical is also mandatory in HVAC operations. We all know that MERV 13 is the minimum size that allows the aerosol to be captured. An aerosol that might have a virus connected to it. So how can you know that your MERV 13 filters, we are filtering the air? And if there's a checking device, if there's a sensor can help you go through the way of monitoring PM2.5 and PM10, well, it'll be much more easier for you. So I think a checking device can definitely help you assure that the mechanical changes you are facilitating actually are proven out. Since the market seems in a very fast developing right now, a lot of building automation systems, they are in iterative phase. So MileSight, as a professional data gathering solution provider, we can help building expertise. We can work together to help customers, to help building owners, to solve problems along with their ongoing discovery process. We don't drink dirty water, right? Why do we breathe dirty air? We have the technology, we have the right product here to be able to monitor it and ensure all spaces are healthy. So here is a very good use case I'd like to talk a little bit more. The island of Man in UK. The new air quality monitors have been installed in max classrooms in a bid to make sure students can concentrate properly. And we moved into the pandemic, and the schools, they have struggled with a safe environment. In some ways, what was safe wasn't really safe unless there's a screen, there was a dashboard where there could be monitoring and engagement and focus. In building with sensor systems, people might have been less or more worried about the indoor air environment because early in the pandemic, everyone wanted to just open the windows and stay outside. Now the government is trailing the technology across the island schools in order to show the buildings with sensor systems are actually performing better. So mild-side sensors are used in every classroom, in every washroom to measure, to monitor it if the fresh air through the filtration system made people comfortable, that we could see the reaction on the screen of this sensor. I think that's beyond the capability of the conventional BAS or BMS systems, right? The BAS system wasn't going to be able to allow users to tune the building, to adjust the building. But these IoT devices can quickly deployed everywhere you required to add more values to upgrade your BAS systems. So mild-side we provide the sensors that are connected with the LoRaWAN network in that island of man, because that is the public LoRaWAN network. And it was the difference in schools being able to open safely or not, because it put in place through LoRa technology and then reacted with building system to retrofit them to ensure a safe environment. That's a good article by BBC News that goes into more details here. So from this case, we can see that the right way to resolve that is through the indoor air quality monitoring. And IAQ is the key metric for satisfying people's healthy and building management demands. We know this because we spend around 90% of our time indoors, and human exposure to indoor air pollutants may sometimes be more than 100 times higher than the outdoor pollutant levels. For instance, indoor air is recycled continuously, causing it to trap or generate pollutants continuously. And what I mean here is that that is visible data. That is, we can see the air quality around us and how are people interacting with the environment, and how does that data drive decision from the building systems. So what I'm going to do next is really go through a couple different levels of analytics, ways that we use, that we help customers ensuring health occupants everywhere to make data-driven decisions other than guessing it, manage the buildings in a very effective way. Mild-side LoRaWAN sensors offer an inexpensive way of monitoring the indoor environment. With battery-powered sensors, able to monitor temperature, humidity, carbon dioxide, the room occupancy, and the lightness level, formaldehyde, PM 2.5, etc. Anyway, sensors can serve many purposes and help bring attention to environmental issues beyond the scope of our eyes. And when we deploy them into the older buildings, the older infrastructure, when we introduce IoT technology into some environments, we feel like LoRa is definitely really built for that, because it's pretty quick, seamlessly, inexpensive, that's being able to implement in the older building environment. That's very, very helpful. And like the example, the case, the Island of Man School case I just mentioned, we have the technology to be able to monitor the indoor air quality, the indoor environment. You can either go outside or you can stay in the building where you can get chance of exposure less through seeing the screen through seeing the dashboard, you know its chance to lower the risk. And another part, I think, as we talk about, what's changing here is our building air. It's not cold driver after we open the building, open the window. For example, the food service, the 5-star hospitality, they all have very specific and standardized requirements on kitchen and in-room service as well. And we also have very strict requirements of the air changes and how they behave. But we have no accountability after the building's open. There's no cross-check, there's no inspection, there's no certification. After you open it, the air inside the building is behaving the way it was intended to be. And that's the gap. And that IoT technology, I think it can fill that gap for us. I mean, in some old buildings, we are not having an opportunity to measure or to monitor the LoRaWAN-based solution. But with this solution, these sensors, they are easier to deploy for this type of measurement. Then we upgrade or expand our existing BAS systems, right? And due to COVID-19 restrictions, many customers, they were working at home. So here is another example from a home office application. Our customer just installed AM107, this model sensor, in his home office to highlight different use cases and the value of IoT. He just put the sensor on the shelf of the desk for the very simple installation. And he is quite fortunate in the island of Man as he can enjoy a national LoRaWAN network directly. So he just skipped the LoRaWAN gateway installation step, but it's quite easy to install your own network as you would do that with Wi-Fi router. And it's relatively inexpensive to cover the whole indoor environment due to the very strong penetration capability that offered by LoRa. And the customer have a real-time dashboard. Here you can see in this screen the charts, the alerting functionality from his own application platform. And along with customers moving, talking, or accompanied by a lovely snoring dog, the surrounding environment is keeping changing, especially the carbon dioxide. And the carbon dioxide is measured in parts per million, where lower than 550 ppm is atmospheric carbon dioxide. And studies have told us levels above 1,000 to 2,000 can result in cognitive impairment, feelings of tiredness, and many more. And when you reach that, I think it's time to open the window. Also, okay, that's about this home use case. And so the 3 takeaways today, I'd like to leave everyone with that. First of all, everything begins with data. So whatever large decision you want to make, what kind of decision or reaction you want to take, it's important to know what kind of data that you have to make better decisions. So it starts there. That's very simple as seeing, right? And now when we talk about indoor air quality, you hear about the MERV levels or HEPA standards or the greater guidance by the Asher company, right? It can feel overwhelming. Too many requirements, right? There's a lot of different components, but what we found is that clients, our customers that have started with the specific IAQ programs, whether it's older style buildings or the new buildings with central management, whether it's non-profit organizations or big companies or home users, whether it's simple temperature and humidity or various gas detection, and then they are able to use the IAQ sensors to collect accurate data to help them go through. And indoor air quality and occupant wellness are fundamentally linked. their wellness and healthy. Okay, so we have talked a lot about this indoor air quality, and we have taken kind of this. There's cold comfort and hard numbers, right? But it's important not to forget employee. After all of this, not forget our students, users. After all of this, to actually understand that there are people, and that this type of data really is there to enrich their experience or comfortable, and that they should not be left behind in this. It's a process of involving multiple parties, like the building automation system, like your indoor air quality system, your ventilation system, many more. Well, I think we need to put people's wellness and healthy at the center. So, let's wrap up the presentation here. That's all for today's webinar. In case if you have other information that are missing in this webinar, you are encouraged to write us anytime you want. Thanks very much for your time today. See you next time. Bye.